practice of yoga with regards to devotion. And devotion is kind of a big word, so usually we tend to avoid it, or when we come across it, then we think about, maybe the Catholic Church that we grew up in and the kind of devotion that was sort of demanded from us towards a god, whatever that was. And so oftentimes devotion is not where you start in yoga. You much rather start with a practice, and maybe the idea that you need to do something for your body, as in you need to do something for your lower back, or you need to do something for your shoulders. And maybe from there you venture into an occasional visit to a yoga class, and then from there, if you're lucky, it will become a more or less consistent practice of going, let's say, to one class a week, or maybe several, or even practicing at home. And then you maybe venture into devoting time to yoga, which is devoting time to yourself, actually. So you realize that it's not just your lower back or your shoulders, even though yoga is very good for a lot of actual physical problems or injuries, or at least, let's say, stiffness or that you may have. But if you go further on the path, yoga becomes more than that. It becomes more than a physical practice you do to feel healthy or fit or strong, or to recover from an injury, even though all of that is yoga and it's an integral part, and it's a real good part of yoga. But then you realize that you're actually on a path towards yourself, and that's the self with a small s and a capital S. And from there, a devotion may start. A devotion towards yourself, that you're actually experiencing personal growth, even though that sometimes may be a bumpy road and it's not always easy, but it's certainly a path of growth and more self-awareness that you're on when you're practicing yoga. And from there you may realize that devoting time to yoga and to yourself also makes you more aware of where you live and what people you're dealing with, and the community that you're a part of, or that you may want to become a part of. So there may be devotion there to coming out of the devotion to yourself. There may be devotion to other people, to your partner, your family, the community you live in, or maybe even the greater picture. And from there you may also realize that yoga is a spiritual practice, or it can be if you allow yourself to go there. And the interesting thing about yoga is that there is many ways of framing that. So rather than in a religion, who would want you to believe certain things in a certain way, yoga is not a religion. It's a spiritual path that allows you to become aware of yourself, this time with a capital S, and realize that this self that you are, and that may be described as soul, for example, or many other aspects of your being, is connected to a bigger spirit, whatever we call that. Spirit, God, the cosmos, the universe. There's many ways of framing that. But once you're at that point, you actually have made your yoga practice a much bigger practice. And there may be a lot of devotion there, and it's a beautiful practice and a beautiful path.